And finally, we will go on to activation. Activation involves three separate components, from documents to networking to interviewing. When it comes to your documents, you want to make sure that you are tailoring not only your resume, your CV, and your cover letter to the specific employers, but also making sure that you're highlighting relevant skills and experiences for each of those positions. When it comes to your bullet points, having bullet points that are highly developed would include information like what you did, how you did it, why you did it, who benefited from it, and what the result was. When it comes to tailoring your resume, you want to make sure that you're using more than just specific types of buzzwords, but actually including the responsibilities from the role within how your experiences are described in your bullet points. Along with this, your documents should all be pristine and customized. So when we are showing ourselves to these different hiring managers, to recruiters, to hiring teams, we want to make sure that our documents are error-free and ready for review of those particular individuals. We do actually have resume and cover letter review here at University Career Services. We do offer the ability to not only check your documents, but also help you understand what more we might need in order to improve upon those documents as well. And finally, creating a strong digital presence. So having an up-to-date LinkedIn with accurate information will help not only portray you online, but also, again, demonstrate your skills. I do want to touch upon one other component of documents when it comes to your CVs. CVs and resumes are very different. They do differ in the fact that your CV is going to include publications, research, teaching experience, while your resumes may or may not include that information. So with all of this in mind, you do want to make sure, again, that you are including incredibly specific information that is individualized to each company as you are applying for these different positions. When it comes to networking, networking is so helpful when you are trying to find out more about an organization, a company, or even a role. You can do networking in a variety of different ways, whether it be from attending career fairs to networking events, meetups, information sessions, industry panels, even online. Networking allows you to connect with like-minded individuals who are either or have been on a similar path to you, or are going to allow you to have some more information into better understanding the company's process or how they might be organized, or even specifics about the role. I want us all to think about for a moment what types of questions you might want to ask someone who you might be connecting with. Amazing. So there's a lot of questions out there. Some common ones that I hear all the time are, what does your day-to-day look like? Or are there any challenges into entry into the position? Did it require additional schooling, certificates, or licensure? Or maybe you want to ask about the company organization. Do you like the organization that you're working for? Can you tell me a little bit about your company's structure? All these different pieces of information can help you better understand what you may or may not need to be doing in order to secure or land a position, or at least increase likelihood by further understanding the ways in which others were able to obtain their positions. For example, you might be looking at a role, shows that having a particular certificate is not a requirement, but rather very optional. While speaking with someone in that role, you do realize that that person actually does have that particular technical skill, and helped them make themselves more competitive in the applicant system because of the fact that they had that skill that was only optional rather than a requirement. You do want to keep all of your connections warm, whether it be family, friends, people who you talk with online, even professors. You want to make sure that you're continuing to maintain these relationships. These relationships are going to help you out tremendously as you go on through your career, not only in your next move, but potentially in the next 5 moves, right? Or potentially in the next 5 years. It's important to maintain these relationships because you never know when you might need to ask that person another question in the future, or touch base with them again on any updates that you have, or even have them connect you with someone in their network. Having very strong connections and relationships with the people who you identify within your network and outside of your network is very, very helpful. Finally, creating a portfolio of your experiences is going to give the employer or employers evidence of the work that you have accomplished. Portfolio can be done in a variety of different ways. Some people like to create a website that contains all of their work. Others like to have a hard copy of their experiences printed out into a portfolio, while some may also just like to put maybe some of it into a YouTube. So in that sense, you do have a variety of different ways to demonstrate that you do have competencies in a variety of different abilities and areas. And finally, interviewing. When it comes to interviewing, preparation is always key. You want to make sure that you are as prepared as you can be. We also offer services specific to interviewing. We offer mock interview preparation, where we can help you out with not only behavioral questions, but also situational and technical. But when it all comes down to it, you might want to prepare yourself with experiences that could tie into a variety of different answers. By this, I mean that you might want to take inventory of the different types of accomplishments that you might have had or your passions. Take inventory of the skills that you've acquired and when you've acquired them. Take inventory of experiences that allowed you to have or learn something new. These are all different types of situations that could be useful when answering questions that are asked by these employers. You want to be able to pull from tangible experiences to show and demonstrate that you actually have had skills in that area and you actually have applied them as well. I do encourage everyone to practice, practice, practice. This could be done so many different ways. One of the more helpful resources when it comes to mock interviewing is called Big Interview. Big Interview allows you to practice your interviewing techniques. They do have pre-developed practice sets with questions that could be industry specific, but they also have chances for you to actually record yourself, hear yourself, and even ask for AI feedback. Both of those are very helpful. It also has an answer builder tool that can help you craft really strong answers that can potentially land you that position. Additionally, when it comes to the end of the interview, you want to make sure that when the employer asks, do you have any questions for me, that you come prepared with questions. The best types of questions are the ones that are going to be most important to you. So think about ways that you can show your interest, your passion, your knowledge in the industry, or even knowledge of the occupation. Maybe you want to ask questions of the employer, of the organization, of their philanthropic or humanitarian duties that they have outside of their work. Maybe you want to ask questions about the timeline for particular types of positions or how you might be evaluated. All of these are helpful questions to ask to not only show the employer that you know what it is you're talking about, but also to show your passion and interest for the role, for the company, for the organization. Once the interview ends, you should definitely send a thank you 24 to 48 hours after the interview. I highly encourage everyone to do so. This is not only the best way to make sure that employers know that you are considerate of their time, but also to, again, reiterate your interest, your passion for that position. It does show that not only were you incredibly active and engaged in the conversation that you were having, but you were also very excited for the position and what it might entail. So with that being said, you might want to think about the different topics of conversation that you might have had during your interview. Maybe you want to think more deeply about the types of questions that were asked and how different interviewers might have responded. These can all be helpful when you're actually writing your thank yous and sending them out to these employers.